There is a certain kind of grief that is difficult to explain to other people. It is not the grief of a long relationship ending. It is not the pain of a clear breakup. It is the grief of something that never fully became real. Sometimes it takes only a few moments for something to begin living inside you. A glance that lasted a little longer than expected. A sentence that sounded warmer than it probably meant to be. A quiet feeling that something might exist between the two of you. And slowly, almost invisibly, a story begins to form. At first, it is only a possibility, something without a clear shape, something that exists more as a feeling than as a reality. But the human mind has a particular habit. It does not like empty spaces. When information is missing, it tries to complete it. When answers are unclear, it looks for meaning. And when a small emotional connection appears, the mind sometimes begins to build a narrative around it. This is how idealization often begins. Not as a deliberate illusion, not as a conscious decision to ignore reality, but as a quiet process of filling in the spaces between what actually happened. Where someone was distant, imagination may see depth. Where someone was uncertain, imagination may see sensitivity. Where someone appeared only occasionally, imagination may see the beginning of something meaningful. And little by little, an image forms. An image of a relationship that could exist. An image of conversations that might happen in the future. An image of closeness that has not yet had the chance to develop. That image is not always built on deception. Often it grows from possibility. And possibility has a powerful quality. Unlike reality, possibility has no boundaries. Reality eventually reveals limitations. It shows flaws, differences, and incompatibilities. Possibility, however, remains open. Nothing inside it has yet failed. Nothing has yet proven impossible. And because of that openness, the heart can remain attached to possibility far longer than it would remain attached to a real relationship. Real relationships eventually encounter friction. They contain misunderstandings, conflicts, and moments when idealization dissolves in everyday life. But a connection that never fully began remains in a softer space. A space somewhere between reality and imagination. Inside that space, many things can survive. Hope can survive. Images can survive. Stories can survive. And often it is the story that becomes the strongest attachment. Not the person as they truly are, but the person as they could have been. The relationship that never had to confront the weight of real life. Over time, this inner story can grow stronger. It can influence how you imagine the future. It can shape how you interpret your own emotions. And when you finally begin to see that the image may not have been real, the pain can feel surprisingly deep. Because in that moment, you are not only losing a person, you are losing a possibility. You are losing a story that had space inside you. Many people then try to minimize their own feelings. They tell themselves, it was not even a real relationship. We were never actually together. Nothing serious happened. But emotions rarely follow that logic. Because the heart remembers not only what happened externally, it also remembers what lived internally. If an idea of connection occupied your thoughts for a long time, if you imagined conversations, closeness, or shared moments, then that experience was real to you. And that is why letting go of idealization can take time. You are not only letting go of a person, you are letting go of a story. You are letting go of a version of yourself who believed that something beautiful might grow there. You are letting go of a space where hope quietly lived. That process can create a strange emptiness. Something that never fully existed can still leave a deep mark. But there is also an important moment that often appears in this process. A moment when you begin to separate two things: what actually existed, and what existed only in the inner story you created. That separation can bring sadness, but it can also bring clarity, because you begin to understand that your ability to imagine connection was never a weakness. It was part of your capacity to love, part of your openness to emotional depth, part of your belief that meaningful bonds between people are possible. The problem was never that ability. The only problem was that not every possibility is meant to become reality. Some stories remain only possibilities. They exist briefly, quietly, and then fade. But other stories do eventually find their form. They develop, they grow, they show that what you feel exists, not only in imagination, but in shared experience. Perhaps that is why letting go of idealization is not only an ending, it can also be the beginning of a clearer way of seeing. When idealization fades, something else becomes visible: reality. Reality may not be perfect, but it has one important quality: it is real. And in that reality, one day, a connection may appear that does not need to live only in imagination. A connection that does not need to be filled in by hope. A connection that simply exists. And when that happens, love no longer lives only inside the mind. It begins to live in the real world as well.